Tony D and Little Joan with a screenwriter's rant on Aftersun, one word. It's a movie about written and directed by a young woman who is looking back on her relationship with her dad and then dramatizing parts of it, I think, in order to try to understand her dad and the relationship she had. It's interesting mix of like real life and not. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books, links in the description. Comedy horror in South Jersey. It's The Pineys, books 1 through 9, available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. Okay, so this, and let me read you the synopsis. I think that basically sums it up. Sophie reflects on the shared joy and private melancholy of a holiday she took with her father 20 years earlier. Memories of real and imagined fill the gaps between as she tries to reconcile the father she knew with the man she didn't. So that seems to imply to me that maybe he's dead and now she's looking back on him. Or maybe he did something terrible. I don't know. Doesn't really say. I think if he did something really terrible, they would have said. It would have been part of the marketing. But I think maybe he's dead by now. Possibly he killed himself, but I don't think so. It doesn't really say that either way. And it's kind of a coming of age movie. They're saying stuff like the best film of the year so far. You won't walk away, according to the Rap, if you believe the Rap. I don't know. I don't really trust the Rap, but Aftersun, written and directed by Charlotte Wells. I mean, it looks like a deeply personal film. I'll say that. Written and directed by Charlotte Wells, and they have actors' names in this, so obviously, it's not all. It's dramatized. Her life dramatized essentially. Now, I'm of two minds of a movie like this. This is from Next Best Picture, a spellbinding debut. I mean, it feels like a coming-of-age movie done by a person who came of age 20 years ago, and so you're going to get some deeply personal moments, which could be really good. It could also be very self-indulgent. It's kind of hard to tell from the trailer. It seems good. It seems fairly organic, but it also seems at the same time a bit routine because, the interaction between a father and daughter, it's not earth-shattering, right? It's going to be pretty grounded in reality. Joan, do you want to get down? I'm trying to do a thing. Here, go get a drink or whatever. Anyhow, seems fairly grounded in reality. She's looking at a couple kissing and wondering what that is like, and her father says something like, you can tell me anything, even if you take, what you do, what drugs you take, and which is a bit of a, I don't know if that's a good move from a strategic point for a young girl like this, saying, whatever drugs you take. Oh, I should be taking drugs. Well, let me get right out there. But again, it could be. The problem with very personal movies is they can get too personal in that you get so wrapped up in the thing that is very important to you, you fail to explain it to the audience. And you see it as intensely personal and important, but the audience can't see it. So you have to always check yourself when you do projects like this to make sure people get that portion of it. Because if they don't get that portion of it, that could be a real, letdown in an important moment where it's like, oh, see, here's the big revelation. She never had a car. And you're just like, what? Was that important? So, I'm not saying this is good or bad. It's kind of hard to tell from the trailer. I mean, it looks like a very, I'll say, typical indie movie presentation in that, oh, this is so good, you have to see it. Get to the art house movie today. It's intensely personal. And since it's about something very intensely personal, it must be good. But that being said, it does look kind of interesting and personal. But beyond that, I feel like I'm, being nicer to the movie than I really know. I mean, I just don't know anything about the movie from what I've seen. I mean, the actors seem fine. A heartbreaking gem of a movie. Yeah, see, he must die or kill himself, according to Vulture. So, and it also is true, like, since she came to womanhood, let's say, 20 years ago in this movie, let's say, an important moment in her life, it may not resonate with people who are growing up at this time, which is probably why it's an art house movie. It'll only be for people in that window of time. People older would be like, oh, so what? People younger would be like, I don't understand. Why don't they just use their cell phones? So, I mean, 20 years ago, yeah, there were cell phones. I don't know. I was an anti-cell phone guy for a long time. Um, so maybe, it's a tough one to call. I mean, it's got detail in it. It looks layered. It looks intensely personal. There are only two really major characters, which can be helpful in terms of the drill down portion of this. Because there are only two characters, you got to dig deep. But the question again is, will she dig deep enough? Will this resonate with an audience? Like, is it universal enough that any woman watching this will be like, yeah, that reminds me of me and my dad, kind of thing? Or even further, like, oh, that reminds me of me and my dad, for guys too, because it's just that universal. Maybe you can make movies that way. It's tough. It's really tough. But it can happen. I would give this movie a chance. I mean, but I like to go to movies like this. Once in a while. Now it's finally cooling down. It's freezing today, actually. Yeah. Why? What is it about going into fall that suddenly I'm freezing, right? If it was this temperature in the winter time, coming off the winter, I'd be like, balmy weather. But yeah, I mean, this time of year, I kind of am up to go get myself a chai latte and sit in the theater with my date and watch some sort of fancy movie or my movie buddies, and then go out to a diner afterwards and talk about if the movie was any good, what the symbolism was, all that stuff. There may be a ton of subtext here, but if it's so subtle that I can't get it, then I kind of hate it. But if I just get it, oh wait, I put it together, then like it's perfect. There's like that balance in there that you have to somehow figure out. 3-act breakdown starts off with 20 years ago I went on holiday with my dad, and here's the actual footage of me running around that he took, and we were in this position in the world, and my dad was doing this, and I was going to school, and blah blah blah. And then we start off with the characters, and they're going on holiday, and they get to the hotel, and we get probably a foreshadowing of what's to come, whatever the problem is. That problem's really not outlined too well. Possibly their relationship and her, again, sort of coming of age, like, I got to get myself a boyfriend kind of thing. And then maybe she does, and then it's about the father kind of letting go, and maybe, like, he's worried about her, which is, obviously. And then, so maybe it goes back and forth like that, and then they have all these poignant moments with the father and daughter. I'm not seeing a fight, so maybe they skip over that. Maybe they didn't have that kind of volatile relationship, whatever. At some point, she has to make some sort of decision, and maybe she feels bad that she kind of, I don't know, I'm speculating, blows off her dad to go be with some boy that she just met on vacation, but he understands because he's the dad, or maybe he doesn't at first, and then he kind of realizes, I had to, like, let go. Then in the third act, it's kind of a resolution to that, maybe a further analysis of what happened to her and him, did he die? Is he dead now and she's looking back? Or did he kill himself? And does she partly blame herself? Or is this just, an intensely personal thing for her and this is why she did all this? And some kind of closure at the end? I mean, this isn't my wheelhouse for writing because, at least not now, maybe now that I'm older, I would look back and be able to do this kind of stuff because I'd feel that enough time has passed. Sometimes for young filmmakers and writers, they do it, I think, too soon, but it depends on your experience. Maybe you had an intensely personal experience that really changed your entire life. You got you out of drugs, or I don't know, you survived some terrible trauma. I didn't do any of that, so my life was okay. I was just eating a lot of stuff. So I don't know. Maybe you gotta have the sort of distance to do this stuff right, and maybe some people can do it younger. Not for me. It's also a tough process digging up the past and going through all this. And, again, there's that moment of like, is this too personal? Will the audience get this? Or do I just think it's important because it happened to me? It's a tough call, screenwriters. Good luck if you're working on something like this. Because, as Harlan Ellison once said, it's like opening a vein. And that's it for me, Tony D, and Little Jones. Sorry, that wasn't meant to be dark. Check us out on Odysee, Bitchute, and Rumble for our more bass takes. I got a news blast. I don't know what I'm doing for the second video. I cannot do a Hollywoke hot take today. I'm too fried from the great show I did at Collingswood Book Fair. Crazy day. Watch my news blast for the craziness outlined therein. But tomorrow I will be at FanCon in Vineland, New Jersey. I will put the link in the description from 11 to 4. There's going to be a lot of people there. Should be a great day. So come on out if you're in the Vineland area. And that's it for me. And we'll see you tomorrow.